Is anybody watching Last of Us?
No.
Yeah, I am. I'm freaking reviewing that shit. It's dog water.
Are you having fun with that?
Well, thankfully, my camera is like out of focus now. Thankfully, I don't have to edit them because I have an editor now, thank God. So he's editing them. So I just have to watch it and write about it and stuff. And it's not good. It's terrible. It's really bad. But it's basically showing that if you watch The Last of Us without any of the gameplay, obviously, because now it's a TV show, it's even more awful.
I actually got
not recommend it to anybody.
I actually got a normie's reaction to the whole killing of Joel thing or whatever from somebody who hadn't played the game and had no idea that shit was coming.
It's crazy that people don't know.
There are plenty. That's what you got to keep in mind. That the show is watched by a lot of general audience people.
That's why it's been so great.
And I had to let them know that it was worse in the game, and you should have seen their expression.
I don't know about that. I think the show has been by far worse.
Well, yeah,
the
but
whole
she doesn't look
pregnancy
nearly
scene
as
is different in the game because she walks away from that. In the show, she's happy to be a cuck. She's like, I'm gonna be a dad. Meet you and Jesse. We're gonna be we're gonna be a polyamorous family.
My understanding is the character in the show isn't nearly as manly as the character in the game. Is that am I correct about that? Because I got quite a bit of a different...
I think she's more manly in the show, personally.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I feel like she is. And
that's the actress.
The thing about the show that for me anyway that is not coming across at all is the fact that in the game Ellie is much more vengeance driven, and the game doesn't really have this happy go lucky feel to it. And I don't know if it's just me, but as I watch the TV show, it feels like they're not on the path to vengeance. It feels more like they're on a vacation. There's still awful things happening, but nothing feels dire or we have to do this. You know what I mean? Whereas in the game, it's there's never a moment of
Did you see?
Happiness.
Anyway, their reaction was, and just to finish this quick, their reaction basically was they didn't mind the show before because the problem is I guess they kind of watched it with their kids, not kids, but 12, 13-year-old kids, 11-year-old, somewhere in there probably. And they said they didn't have much of a problem before when it was just the zombie violence and all that stuff. And the one episode in the first season was kind of weird with the gay couple, but they said all of a sudden it's all this gay sex with the lesbian sex and the trans character and all that stuff, and it kind of turned them off. And they kind of didn't, especially with watching it with their kids, they said, right? I said, well, I can understand it's not made for adults, but yeah.
Well, for me, the reaction just showed me
in sex scene too, though, because there's kind of a make out scene where they're smoking weed and stuff that happens before Joel dies.
Yeah, that happens before Joel dies.
Yeah, and they skipped that part, which is weird to me because
they skipped it so they could give you that softcore Cinemax sex scene where she fingers her.
That's
and
what
what's nasty what's nasty is when you look at her fingernails, those dirty ass fingernails.
Yeah,
there's a really funny meme. So on the top part of the meme, it's the dirty fingernails, and then the middle is her fingering her, and then the bottom is her fingers clean.
I'm just wondering if they're gonna somehow squeeze in the there's a moment
make me cringe. It's YellowFlash.
Now so horrible. There's a moment where in the game Ellie and Dina end up in a synagogue. This actually happens in the game. You end up in a synagogue at one point, and you actually have Dina say lines where she's like, oh, that's a Torah, and that's this and that, whatever. I come from a Jewish family, and I come from a family of survivors, so that's why the apocalypse is just another thing that we have to survive as a people, and that's a moment in the game. And I'm wondering if that's going to show up in the show. I would not be surprised if it does.
Hey, what's this? Hold on a second. Hold on. Brian with an eye for 10. Any thoughts on the Event Horizon prequel issues coming out in August?
I heard something.
I hope it leads to a feature film. They're going to make a prequel to that?
Apparently.
And what is it?
I've only heard a comic, but I don't know.
It's going to be a comic book? Is that what that is?
I don't know. They're saying it's a film, feature film.
No. It says it's hopes it leads to a feature film. I would love to read that if it's... Who's writing it, though? That's the... That's the thing too. I would love to see that previous crew and what they went through. I mean, that seems like an easy idea to do. I'm surprised they haven't done it because Event Horizon's like a cult classic.
Just going back to what we were talking about, the reactions to The Last of Us in the show really just showed me that there's a massive distinction between video game people and like show watchers or movie watchers. Because like the reactions were basically identical, but it's like a lot of people still didn't see it coming. It's actually kind of crazy to think that after everything that did happen with the game, like they tried to, if you remember, they were copyright striking Ryan's channel, and like
that's where Naughty Dog came from, isn't it?
Like,
right?
Yeah, that's exactly where it came from. And it's just like to think that that was the reaction and that was what came from, the game. And then for them to release the show and people are still in shock. Like some people were like in shock in regards to when they did it. They thought that they might leave it until the tail end of season 2 or something like that. Now, I'm not saying that honestly, I don't give a about it, but I'm just going off what I've heard. And it's like they bring it in so early and everybody's reaction's like, what the did they just do? It's like,
well, it's even worse than that because I've been doing videos about every single episode, like chronicling it, and I was looking up like the linear viewership and stuff. So linear viewership, people don't know, those are the people that actually watch the show live. Like they're not watching it on demand. They're watching it when it airs.
On cable, it dropped by 20%.
Yeah. It was dropping something like 20% per episode, like over and over and over again. They had like almost 1 million, I think, on the first episode they did. By the second one, they lost about 300,000 people. And then it was like they lost 200,000 people after Joel died, I guess. So that puts them at like not even 500,000. And it just keeps going down, down, down. And they've already greenlit a 3rd season. So they're kind of like, stuck in this now. I think the ending is going to piss a lot of people off too, because obviously if you played the game, But I just think like it just kind of shows you that like without the Last of Us Part 2, I will say, has great art direction, great voice acting, great graphics, environments, like the way the enemies react to bullets and the AI and all, like everything about that game is amazing. And then the story happens, and then that's what's dog shit. And unfortunately, if the story's bad, everything suffers. So
even just with the normies that are watching the show, that like got into it from the first season because it was a good story or whatever, and then they come to this, it's like they then see something like, oh, I'm going to be a dad, which even shocked the shit out of me when I saw that clip.
Yeah.
It's like, what are these people supposed to think? These are just normie audience watchers that just wanted to see a good TV show, and then they're having this shit thrown in their face, this woke garbage crap. It's like, they're gonna tap out more and more and more as time goes on.
The storyline is so bad, and it's unfortunate that like they have to basically adapt it the way it is because it all ends up being basically for nothing anyway.
Yeah, but they're changing things. It's not 100% adapted correctly.
Because they got to change that
girlfriend
ending.
with her.
Awful. I don't know, man.
She's still gonna. She's not gonna kill Abby in this.
Good luck to season 3.
I had another video where like I came up with like a potential part 3, like my idea for it. And the only way I can see they could even fix this is if they did like a part 3 happens, and the Fireflies say like, "Hey, we have a cure for the virus." You said it like 15 years in the future. That brings Ellie out of self-isolation. Abby's a part of the Fireflies now, and then like this vaccine they create for the virus, whatever, ends up mutating the infected even more, basically, and everything goes to hell. And then you could have a story there that's more interesting, I guess. But like, if they don't do what I suggest there, I guess the only other alternative basically is just like they just make new characters because they've kind of ridden themselves into a corner otherwise. There's nothing really they can do.
They're not. They're turning the game into 2 seasons. So part 3 will still be.
I have a feeling
2.
The end of season 1 will be at the movie theater, where certain someone gets shot. Probably that's where it's going to end, and then season 3 is going to be obviously the rest of the game. So,
yep.
I do think though the idea of like the Fireflies making a cure in a potential part 3, that would be interesting though, because then they could like end part 3. You could have Ellie die because, like, in the part 1, she always said to Joel, I want my life to matter, and he kind of takes that away from her. That's the way she looks at it anyway. So you could have her basically sacrificing herself to stop this new virus from like forming, and then you could like write her off. Okay, she's dead. She has a character arc. Abby can survive, I guess, and she can kind of just grow up, whatever, and have kids or some shit. Doesn't really matter. And then when you make like this new vaccine that mutates the virus even further, then you can have more like nightmare versions of these, cordyceps zombies, because the zombie that everybody likes from Last of Us 2, which I'm assuming is going to be in the show at some point, is the Rat King, which is like this giant infected that has a bunch of different like bodies in it. It's one of the bosses. It's one of Abby's bosses. So that's definitely, that has to be in the show. It has to be. But I think I really want to see what's going to happen with the audience when it shifts to Abby, and then you're following Abby, just to see how like people are just going to walk away.
I don't think there'll be as much of an audience left.
Well, she looks better in this version, at least. The girl who's playing Abby should have played Ellie.
Yeah, true. But like, it's too late now. Instead, you have fetal alcohol syndrome, Ellie, and
that
normal Abby, I guess.
Bella Ramsey. The memes on her, man, I almost kind of feel bad for her.
Yeah, they just
she's
just fucked
looking
up. And you can think of it in a lot of ways. Like this whole like, what's the word? Subverting expectations, and like the female being like the power character and all this. It kind of all in a way started and originated in a way with Last of Us Part 2, really, because like it came out in 2020, which is when all that DEI money was kind of being thrown around, and that's when like all these other games started coming into like fruition. Your Concords, your Suicide Squads, Dustborn, yada yada yada. So it's no wonder that like, regardless, even though people hate the show and hate the game too, the critics love the show and they love the game because it's everything that they want. You're playing a character who's not straight, that's a woman, killing mostly men. There's no male protagonist whatsoever. Like, if you think about it, like Last of Us Part 2, you have a lesbian woman, a straight woman, and then the straight woman has a trans man. I think it's a girl that's a guy. What's her name? Lev? Or his name? I don't know, whatever. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a trans.
Yeah. Which doesn't make any sense, because like, how the hell could they get hormone blockers in the apocalypse when like people can't even get morphine? It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, there's no way they would be able to like alternate their voice.
The
whatever,
show Abby doesn't look like.
Because
Lev.
it's impossible. Yeah. They would have to put her on steroids. Like, the only woman I saw that people said that should have played Abby, I don't remember her name. She's like this Asian-looking woman. She's been in a few movies. She was in Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yeah, you don't have muscles like that without taking testosterone.
Yeah. There's like
no way that
one actor that's like up and coming that
muscles.
like has the Abby body, but like,
and probably does juice and steroids. And
it's impossible. It's impossible for a woman to look like that
without doing that. So, and plus, what Abby would have to be eating all the protein. I mean, this is an old
Jamie
debate.
Chung, is that her name? I don't know.
Yeah, she probably does steroids. What is Jamie?
Yeah, probably.
Chung
She was in Ant-Man Quantumania, and she was in some movie with Kristen Stewart recently. And like, that chick's body, like, that's Abby's body. But again, that lady's probably on steroids. So what you gonna do? But it's just not a good show, and it really shows you like when the last
Jamie Chung. This doesn't look like someone that's on steroids.
Maybe that's not her then. Let me look. I'll look her up here. I'll find her. I'll show you the chick I'm talking about. Ant-Man Quantumania buff chick. What's her name? Let's look at the full casting crew. Katie O'Brien, that's her name. Katie O'Brien. Look up Katie O'Brien, Flash, if you can. That's the body type of that like Abby needed, basically.
No, Abby's got bigger arms than that.
But that's like the best you're gonna get. You know what I mean? Like, realistically.
Yeah, this chick's probably. I mean, you could do this in the gym.
Yeah, that chick's probably
Abby has like a
think,
man's arms.
Yeah, I know, straight up. And I think Abby's face is based off of like some Naughty Dog employee or something like that. Some girl that works there or used to work there. Her face is like literally Abby's face. They just like mocapped her. Yeah, Katie O'Brien. There you go. Chat saying show us. Show Katie O'Brien on the screen.
All right, hold on.
But that chick's like that's like the Abby body. But yeah, the girl they got, she can't get the body for it. It's impossible.
Yeah, because Abby has like dude's arms, man.
She's got a square frame though. Like she looks like a.
Yeah, this
she
is
looks.
So here's her. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like
pushing
that's
it.
the closest you're gonna get.
I still kind of think that's gear. I still think that looks like steroids to me.
Probably, yeah. Like if you go down a little bit, there's a
or
photo of her with
testosterone injections, maybe.
Probably. Like anyone who thinks that's natural, like
that's not
hell,
natural
there's
for
no
a
way
woman
that's
to
natural.
look
There's
like
no
that.
way. But I'm just saying, like,
no.
if they
I mean,
wanted
like right
someone
here,
to
she
cast
looks
as
fine.
Abby's body.
Oh, she was the chicken.
No.
I know who she is. Yeah, she's.
This is for
She's
sure
in Star Wars
steroids,
as well,
though,
I
right here.
think.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
100% steroids.
I thought Abby was trans.
No.
she's not.
Abby's a straight. There's literally a scene in the game which
She
Flash
gets
probably can't
plowed
show.
from behind.
Yeah, it doesn't
so,
mean shit. She's got a butthole then. It looked like a trans person to me. It sure as hell didn't look like a girl.
The whole justification basically was like Abby's ripped because she like her dad dies obviously from
I
Joel.
don't play the game, so yeah.
Yeah, I know, but then like
She
she's like
watches
turning
on
her
his
body
gear?
into a weapon basically. That's what she's doing.
I thought it was a trans character. I'm not with you.
Maybe she raids the pharmacy and takes testosterone injections.
That's what I'm saying. It
That's a
doesn't make any
Terminator, basically.
Lev
Who knows?
character, like
That's why I said the character in the show does not look like the one in the game.
They decided to never show us those things because they just wanted you to believe that a woman could naturally look like that, which isn't a joke.